Evening is Thursday, December 19th, 2024. This is the Board of Finance regular meeting, and it is 7:01, and the meeting is called to order. We'll start with seating of alternates. Brett would be the alternate that we would be seating, so.
Do you want me to nominate? Yes, I'll nominate Brett to be seated for Jeff's leadership.
I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We'll start with approval of the minutes from November 21st, 2024.
Yeah, there's only one thing. It's just a little thing, but on the low down in, I think it's the last graph and on page 6 of the minutes. Let's see, is that where it is? Oh, there was just, it refers to other departments plural. And there's only one other department, so I just take the S off of it, but now I can't find it looking at it.
Ms. Summers noted that they have the 990s for the other departments.
Yeah,
It's the third line up the end of the line.
okay. Yeah. You do good minutes, I have to say. It's like, wow, I'm getting stuff I didn't really hear at the meeting.
All right, any other edits? Okay, so all those in favor of adopting the minutes from November 21st, 2024, say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Motion.
Yeah. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Yeah,
Is that-
yeah, I said so
Okay.
moved, yeah.
Well, second, all right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
And I'll abstain because I was.
okay. Next, we'll move on to present to speak. Public participation is desired and encouraged. Speakers will be limited to time and appropriateness of comments to maintain progress, stay on topic, and maintain decorum. Do we have anybody for present to speak? Alex?
I just have two quick items. One, I'm happy to say the tax stuff has all been completed. The 990 stuff is done. We had said the last meeting, we had the last two that the accountant was finishing. So everything is done. They're working with the IRS on the filing, because they needed it filed in a certain way, but everything is done. They're working with the accountant, working with the IRS. So that is hopefully behind us.
Do
So
you know when those will be up by any chance?
I don't yet, because, so they've said that they've received them, but the IRS has to do whatever their thing is, but we have copies of everything, of all of the 990s.
Right.
So that is done. And I just wanted to give a quick update on the OSHA report, those that were not on or at the town meeting the other night. OSHA's finally, or has finished their investigation part. We're waiting for their final ruling as to what their mandatory repairs have to be, what is suggested, and what possible fines could be. We don't know what those are yet. We know that there's at least 2 fines. One is some reporting stuff and one's a policy. So we're hoping the next 2 weeks to have that report, but we don't know yet.
They haven't told you how much the fines are. They normally do when they send out the.
They haven't sent us out anything yet. So all that we've had is the closeout meeting. She's had to call a couple of times for a couple of different additional items, like policy, stuff that she wanted. But she was writing the report the last we were told. So as soon as we get it back, then, we're automatically gonna ask for an extension just to make sure we don't run out of time on something. But, that's where we're at.
On the 990s, it's a quiet night, but I feel like we should be toasting, you know,
I'm right there with.
celebrating. I know it's a big,
But-
pressure off your back.
Yeah, so as long as IRS doesn't go back and say they want something else, but yeah, so the account said everything was in line, so.
Good.
You know, you might talk to your accountant, because if there was an error, a legitimate error on your part, sometimes if it's an error, the IRS is willing to waive any penalties.
And
And it wasn't really on your part.
Right.
I mean, it was on the town's part.
for,
For the, right? I mean, wasn't there a transpose number on the confusion
I
about
think
the?
you're thinking about 941.
The
which is a
941,
parallel.
that's a
Oh,
different
it's
one.
a different one.
Yep. The 990, I don't know what, they haven't said anything about funds yet because they're still working through it. We're working on trying to figure it, I don't know. The OSHA part, I have no idea.
Right, well, thanks for being cooperative, giving us the
Absolutely.
financial reports that were requested, it was really great.
Yep.
Thank you. And do we have anybody else for present to speak? No, so there's no old business to discuss, so we'll move on to new business. We'll start with item number 1, which is the November 2024 financial report presented by Donald 10-6.
So you have the revenue and expense 5 months into the fiscal year. And I have nothing to alert you to. The revenue is doing well. Favorable in 2 or 3 of the 5 categories. And Board of Ed on the expenditure side, Board of Ed is watching their budget. Peter is watching his budget. So there's nothing that I can alert you to as far as overspending or revenues underperforming.
Any questions for Donna? If
I
not,
think so.
we will move on. Item number 2 is cannabis fund appropriation. Peter Tanaka, but Peter's not here.
Excuse me, do you mind if I ask one question?
Yep.
I'm sorry. Donna, I just want to know what impact do you think there will be with the tax collector leaving her job?
No impact on collecting taxes. I think that
You're gonna do that in your free time?
I'm not gonna do that, but my observation is, in the town of Wellington, people pay their taxes.
Yeah.
And I think people are gonna continue to pay their taxes and they're gonna pay them on time. And our office is gonna process them,
Okay,
process the
power of
payments.
positive thinking, great.
Yes.
Thanks, sorry.
Right, so we're not gonna be hearing from Peter Tanaka this evening.
I can speak for Peter, I think,
Okay, go ahead. Donna.
on the cannabis, the request for appropriation. So just to give you a little bit of history, so you know that we are a town meeting form of government, Board of Selectmen town meeting form of government. We follow the state statutes. We have a state statute that says that any money that comes into the town needs an appropriation to spend it. And usually we get that going through our process of referendum or town meeting when there's a grant or something special. So anyway, now we're coming to wanting to spend money from the cannabis tax fund. There's $30,000 in the tax fund. That money's to be used for community events. And there was a community event. And Peter came to me with an invoice for payment for $945.41. And he said, let's pay this from the cannabis tax fund. So I said, well, before we do it, let's get an appropriation for this invoice. And then going forward, we will put in the budget, the annual budget, something for spending from the cannabis fund, so we don't have to come every time we want to make an expenditure.
What is that for?
Yeah.
Okay, so there was an event that was headed up by Ed DeGata, and he purchased commemorative medals. That is all I could tell you. This part Peter would know.
That was for veterans.
Veterans, it was a veterans, there you go. Yep.
Were those medals not provided?
So Mr. DeGata paid for them with his private funds. And so he is wondering if the cannabis fund could pay for the medals that were purchased for this veterans function.
That's a good question.
Typically,
They
they're
provided by the military.
provided by the government at some level, or you can look into that. I don't know if they always are. I don't know what medals they were.
You know more about it than I do. I can show you the invoice. And then you go from there. But I thought it was a legitimate request to reimburse Mr. DeGata for the purchase.
Yeah, I mean, we have the money. I don't see a problem with it, but I would say we could probably, going forward, look into having the government pay for those, if we could, like the big government, I know we're government, but.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think,
I know
I
what
think
you
it's
mean.
probably a good idea too, because they're not really, cost center. And it's not an agent of the town, in any way, is he? I mean,
I
it's
have
just,
like-
I'm just looking at precedent, because, you know, so if we decide, can we spend that money on a Boy Scout expense or a camping trip or something, you know, I just kind of wanna just make sure that we're not establishing something that, cause I know when Pete came before, we talked about putting the money toward the 300, the tricentennial.
Yes, we did talk about
And
that.
that's a town-wide celebration. But I mean, I would not be a person who would ever say no to the military or to veterans for being acknowledged, but I'm just looking at the protocol of it, which is very military of me, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want it to sound like I'm saying no,
Yeah,
because I'm not, I just,
you of all people.
I feel like there may be other ways to go about that in the future.
Was the event held by, Department of Veterans Affairs, or?
I
was
don't
this-
know anything about
Totally
the
fair.
event.
My question would be, you know, was it held by a governmental agency of some kind in some way, or was it a private function?
Yeah, because that's
the
another,
The town-wide celebration would be a governmental affair,
Mhm.
but if the Boy Scouts wanted to come and do something, that's a private organization, so then that would be a town event kind of thing. So that would be my concern is who's holding the event?
Well, it kind of depends, because if the Boy Scouts did something related to the food drive, then Karen
that
would
would
be
be a town,
involved
yeah.
as a town officer, because they collaborate on that.
So
So
like
it
a
just kind of
jamboree
depends
or
in general,
something.
yeah, like a camping trip or, you know.
Yeah,
What do they call it, Winterfest camp out, deep freeze or something like that. What is it called, you know, something like Zodiac or Tundra or something Alaskan. But you know, where they do the camp out in the winter.
So before anything's appropriated, can we find out if there's a government source that's able
Well-
to provide the funds for this? Or here and paid for?
It's already paid for, yes.
Well, yeah, I mean.
I mean, like, I don't know if he can get
Oh.
reimbursement from the government. I think, you know, it's up to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do you think we
You know,
can,
approve it or deny
Can
it,
we-
it's up to you,
yeah, I
or
don't
wait
think
know,
for,
anybody's
can we-
saying no,
Hear from-
yeah, it's like a going forward.
but
Yeah.
yeah, going forward,
Yeah.
maybe
so
put
going
the
forward,
bug in their ear to,
I see an amount in the budget and not every little thing coming to you. Know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be a line item in the budget for $3,000 and Peter's gonna say, okay, this is what we're gonna pay, you know, from our cannabis money.
but even so, I think you need to be careful about something that's in the budget. If it's spent for something that's quasi-private or, you know, should be, you know, it's not really under town auspices. I don't know, Christina's got a comment.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask or suggest that there be some sort of written policy about this fund, because it's new and we have policies about other funds, because yeah, strange things will come up.
Have
And-
our guidance, we have our guidance that it's, for community, you know, you can pull out our guidance and then now we have to interpret it.
Right,
So,
Yeah, the guidance on that is
I'll
fairly vague.
interpret it honoring veterans is part of our community.
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, sure, there's no
Yeah,
question about that, so are the Boy Scouts for that matter. You know, they do a lot of stuff for the town.
yeah, and then what's gonna happen if the funds aren't spent in a year? Will it just accrue in a special fund? And in that case, you know, then there's an argument for letting it save up, because we know we have this big event coming in a few years. Maybe not spend it on a lot of little things in the meantime. If we
Yeah,
can save-
because, actually, the one thing I remember spending before was on the street cleaner. Remember the sweeper?
That was NIPS
A
money,
piece,
that
it
was
was
a
an
different
attachment to
fund.
the sweeper, because that is one of the it's not just community events, there's several categories.
There's really
There's,
three
there's like,
categories.
like addiction programs and things like that that benefit the overall, that's directly tied to what some people fear the danger is.
Yeah, the other one's
That
public,
business.
public enhancements.
Yeah, streetscape.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
like
streetscapes.
streetscape, like replacing the flags we could do, and that's kind of,
And education
veterans
programs,
too.
and it doesn't say anything about what kind of education, so I was
Yeah.
thinking we could try and put some of it to anything for the school, cause we all know they always need money.
a lot of needs. That's a good point.
Yeah,
Okay, do you still have a question? Oh, your little hands up.
Right, Don, so do you want to word how the motion would be?
Yes, your motion for consideration would be, that you appropriate $945.11.
41 cents.
41 cents from the cannabis fund for Veterans Day.
So moved.
Second,
Right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Christina? Okay,
Hi.
yeah,
real quick, how much did you say was in the fund again?
30,000. 30,000. That's building up.
Good chunk of change.
and so that's it for new business, and then we also have the calendars and the letters for the budget season, which have been completed. Have they been sent out at this point, Donna?
No, they have not been emailed
Oh,
out.
they haven't? Okay. And could I ask something then that I emailed you about?
Sure.
Donna, do you think it'd be possible, like maybe in boldface under each presenting week, to say budget submissions due date, and then give them the date of the week before, like on the 6th? What would that be, January 30th or something? To just spell out when the due date is. And the reason I'm kind of being tougher than we've ever been about it is because now we're on a 4-day week. So the due date is a week before, we meet on Thursday nights. So if they get it to us, if they say, oh, I forgot, I just need one more day is 4 more days or
Mhm.
5. You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
So that puts us with only 3 or 4 days to look at maybe the selectmen's budget.
mhm.
And I know that there's a chance that people will miss the deadlines, but I think it just, and forgive me for, 45 years of running, newsrooms. And I understand that people really need a specific for a deadline and a date, because otherwise it's like a week before, oh shoot, it's this week, So,
I like your idea of giving a date. You don't have to worry about the 4-day work week because finance works 5 days and we're here on Friday. So anything, I can get things out to you on Friday so that you have it before the weekend. And when I send these out, I'm gonna put in the subject line the due date, and I'm gonna put it again so that the budget writers are gonna have it and see it. It won't be on the calendar. I don't wanna go back, I'm ready to send these out, and I don't wanna go back and rework the calendar and
oh,
put
okay,
that little
yeah,
thing in
that's all
there.
right.
And
That's
take
all right.
that extra time.
Next year, maybe though, we
Yeah,
could
we
do
can
it.
do it next
Because
year.
I really think it's just kind of the public document we all work off of, and it really
Yes.
helps. They can see it, we can see it. And, everybody knows when that stuff's due that way. It's right now, it's buried in the text of a full page of text in the middle that says your
Yes.
budgets are due a week before you present. So they have to do the math on figuring out what's that actual due date.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And read the
I'm gonna do it
documents,
for them. I'm gonna summarize
the
for them.
big if.
I do have to say though, even last year when they were being nudged to give them to us in a timely fashion, they were submitting them like a couple of days before the meetings.
Yeah,
I know, so that's why I feel like we need to kind of tighten up, because we didn't have enough time with some stuff too.
Definitely. And so, do you know when they'll be going out, Donna?
I'm aiming for tomorrow.
Okay.
If I just send you a couple of, if you want me to, a couple, like 5 or 6 typos in this thing, is that okay?
Oh, yeah,
wanna
you
clean that
on the
up?
calendar or the letter?
No, the letter,
Sure.
okay. They're easy things like an orange chairman.
Okay, you send it tomorrow. I'll be on standby. Okay.
Not context. Oh, there's one other thing though on this. I don't like the phrase "in these difficult economic times." I think that's opinion. I don't think it's fact. I listened to and I would encourage you guys to listen to the Fed chairman Powell's comments yesterday when they cut the interest rates by another quarter point. I think about it's between 4.25 and 4.5. And in it, he talks about being out of the woods on inflationary concerns that they've had. They've been working aggressively toward this goal. The Fed's goal is 2%. They're at something like 2.4%. It's like in sight, and it's tracking that will happen. I think what people get confused about with the economy is like food prices and energy prices, which are not a part of the consumer price index. And there's reasons for that. It's volatile. Those are 2 volatile categories that no one really has a complete handle on. And it's global in this case. Some of it is the disease with the egg, production, and then with energy, it's global. It's like, but those prices are starting to come down. And he really he gives context for the labor market and everything else, all the numbers are really good in the labor market, as far as unemployment and everything else, except for hiring pace, the hiring pace is down. That percentage is down. So if you don't have a job, it is stiff competition out there. But if you do have a job, layoffs are down to nil, and some of the things that we've dealt with in the past. So I don't feel like, with edging up to or down to 2% inflation, that is a reasonable way to explain it. And I would just say, even if we put something in that says, in a small town budget, or in a, modest sized town budget or something like that, is fine, because that is our reality. But I feel like, it's not difficult economic
I
times.
think it is
It's
for a lot
actually-
of people, it isn't for me, but I know a lot of people are.
Yeah, but that makes it
Yeah.
sound sweeping, and
We
it's
just
just
had an
not,
election,
we're
I
the
think it was
first,
a driver.
we're
in
the first
results of
year.
That election, a lot of what people are feeling.
we're in a bull market, and it's like the first of 4 years, if bull market runs about 4 years, I mean,
Yeah, I have a
I'm
feeling,
just-
okay, I know how to
yeah.
interpret,
no,
what's
but I mean,
but,
I just think, but I
For a
think
lot of
that's,
people, it is.
well,
Yeah.
maybe it is, maybe they feel that it is, and like I
Yeah.
said, I understand about food prices and energy prices. But the thing is, it's not, I don't think everybody agrees with that. So I just think saying that as if it's we all agree on this and the Board of Finance believes this, because I don't think that's true. I don't
Well, for
think that
many, for
this
many,
is
these
true.
are trying times.
Yeah, I'm
It's like-
not saying it's not for some people,
Oh,
but
yeah.
some people maybe are also, fall victim to not making the best choices in their own finances.
I think also, I think the difficulty here is economy with a big E versus economy with a small e. Yeah,
Yes.
my economic situation isn't the best, but the overall country's economy, people with degrees can go talk about, because I can't figure it out. So perhaps it would be better to have something, just to avoid the ambiguity of terms such as economic, have something along the lines of, we'd like to see a continuance of the prudence that has been used to develop budgets in our small town, as you
Yeah.
said. And that just removes the confusion as to whether or not we are projecting an economic downturn, which I'm not qualified to do.
Next year, we can have that discussion.
I think we could make, sure the letters haven't gone out, but it's
Well,
3-word
I
change.
know, but you know what? It was voted on last week and
It was voted on to go ahead with changes made, but we didn't, and with the stipulation that the final draft be sent to us, and it never was.
oh, okay, hold on a second.
For purpose of conversation while you're looking for that, I would like to move that we make that 3-word change in that one.
Okay, so I had gone over the minutes from the last meeting, and it said that it called for the letter and the calendar being accepted with the edits that were mentioned. And it was voted on and passed unanimously 6-0.
Page are you on?
Looking for the page that that was on the.
I think it's,
Right here on page 6, Mr. Ross, motion to send the letter and calendar is suggested as for December 2nd. Ms. Nyla seconded.
but it wasn't sent December 2nd, so to me, that's moot. We're talking about it on December 19th. So it's more than 2 weeks after it, and it didn't go out, so my feeling is it's still open, it's not sent. It's a small change and it's more realistic and sweeping.
Yeah, but the letters and the calendar were approved unanimously last month.
But they were,
Regardless
but
of
they weren't
what
ever
was set out.
sent, they weren't ever finalized,
Well-
and they did not go out. I would like to make the motion, if it dies from lack of a second, so be it, but I think it's necessary.
If you wanna make a motion, go
I
ahead.
did. I'm recommending the 3-word change in lieu of these difficult economic times. 4 words, with the 3 words, in our small town. 4 words, in our small town, what was that? That we, okay, the sentence reads, we would like to see a continuance of the prudence that has been used to develop budgets in our small town. Got a word there. Budgets in our small town something. It was a good word.
Like to see it used in our small town previously or something along those lines.
Oh, in our small town, maybe just in our small town.
Yeah, I think just in our.
And whenever possible, a reduction in the cost of services. I think that's, it's talking about being careful with the money. And that's legit.
And do we have a second?
A second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
I,
All those against say nay. Nay. And any abstentions? I abstain. Abstentions.
so Christina voted yay,
Oh, yes.
and Britt and I voted yay.
So 3-2-1. It passed.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Donna? Okay, thank you.
Yes,
I'll send it to you.
yes, thank you.
All right, no correspondence and present to speak. Public participation is desired and encouraged. Speakers will be limited to time and appropriateness of comments to maintain progress, stay on topic, and maintain the forum. Do we have anybody for present to speak? No, for good and welfare. I'd just like to tell everybody, hope you're all blessed with a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and that you all have a profitable and healthy year ahead of you.
Me too.
And we have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I so moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a good Christmas.
That was a half-hour meeting.
That was great.
I don't know if we need to do.
Was it on Christmas Day?
Oh, I'm sorry.